Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever looked at your six-figure household income and just wondered, where is it all going? Well, today, we're going to solve that frustrating puzzle. We're exploring why so many successful families feel like they're just one paycheck away from a crisis.
Okay, let's just dive right in, with a sentiment that might feel incredibly familiar. You know, it's that thought that runs through your head when you look at your combined pay stubs, then you look at your bank account, and the math, it just doesn't add up. So let's paint a picture, one that's probably going to sound really familiar. She's in marketing, he's in IT, and together they're pulling in $133,000 a year. Now that puts them in the top 25% of all American households. They followed the playbook, right? Got the good degrees, landed the solid careers, even bought a house. So why? Why is it that when the car suddenly breaks down, they're scrambling for a credit card instead of dipping into a healthy savings account?
And this leads us right into our first section, where we're going to explore this really confusing and stressful contradiction. On paper, these families are the definition of success, but in reality, they feel like they're treading water as fast as they can.
And here's really a snapshot of that paradox. I mean, they've checked all the boxes for what we're told is a secure, comfortable middle-class life. But the prize for playing by the rules, it isn't peace of mind. No, it's constant stress, it's exhaustion, and it's this gnawing feeling of being financially fragile. Always feeling one bad day away from real trouble.
Now, what's so interesting here is that this isn't just a personal feeling or, some kind of budgeting failure. This is actually a well-documented economic phenomenon, and it has a name.
The term is the two-income trap, and it's not some new idea. It was identified over 2 decades ago. Way back when she was a leading bankruptcy law professor at Harvard, Elizabeth Warren and her daughter, they dug into thousands of bankruptcy filings. And they weren't looking at big corporate failures, they were trying to figure out why so many regular American families were going broke. And what they discovered was, frankly, shocking. Families with 2 working parents were significantly more likely to go bankrupt than their single-income counterparts from a generation before. I mean, just think about that for a second. Doubling the work, doubling the paychecks, somehow made them more financially fragile. How's that even work?
So let's see how we got here. To really understand the trap, we need to compare the finances of a typical middle-class family from about 50 years ago to one today. It's a night and day difference.
Okay, back in the 70s, a typical family could often get by pretty well on a single income. They could afford a home, cover their bills, maybe even save a little. But their most valuable asset was a built-in insurance policy. If the main breadwinner lost their job, the other partner could go out and find work. Fast forward to today, that insurance policy has already been cashed in. Both partners are already working full tilt just to keep up with the basic monthly bills.
And wow, this chart right here, it just lays the whole problem bare. Look at this. After you adjust for inflation, what people are actually earning has kind of crept up, just a little. But the fixed costs, the big stuff you need for a middle-class life, they've just exploded. I mean, just look at housing. It's completely dwarfed that tiny little bit of income growth.
So that second paycheck, it didn't become a wealth-building tool. It didn't go to vacations or fancy cars. Instead, it was completely swallowed up by a bidding war for the same essentials. You see, when everyone started competing for houses in good school districts with 2 incomes, the price of admission to that life simply rose to require 2 incomes.
So where does all that extra money actually go? It feels like it should be there, but it just vanishes. Let's follow the money, step by step, and see where it goes.
All right, let's imagine the second partner in the household takes a job that pays $50,000 a year. Now, on the surface, that's a huge boost to the family's finances. But let's see what happens to it.
Okay, let's take this slow. The very first hit comes from taxes. Because this $50,000 is stacked right on top of the first person's salary, it gets taxed at the household's highest marginal rate. So after federal, state, and payroll taxes, you could easily lose around 18 grand right off the top. Poof! Gone.
Now, if you have a child, that second person can't go to work for free. You got to have childcare. And with the average cost in America hovering around $15,000 a year, another massive chunk of that second salary is gone before you even get a chance to spend it.
And hey, 2 workers usually means 2 commutes. That could mean a second car payment, more insurance, gas, maintenance, the whole shebang. Conservatively, that can add up to another $8,000 a year. We're already down by a ton.
And then you've got the costs you don't always track. When both parents are working full-time and commuting, they're just exhausted, and that leads to spending more on convenience, more takeout, more DoorDash, maybe a cleaning service. These exhaustion expenses can easily eat up another $7,000 a year.
So, when all the dust settles, what's actually left in the bank? That shiny $50,000 a year job, it might only be adding a measly $2,000 to the family's bottom line for the whole year. Let's break that down. That's about $8 for a full day of work. $8. And this is where the real psychological trap kicks in. The family sees that big, juicy number on the gross pay stub. They feel like they have a high income, so they go out and take on high-income debt, like a massive mortgage, based on a feeling, not the cold, hard reality of what's left.
This is what living on a razor's edge looks like. The family has zero margin for error. As long as both incomes keep flowing, nobody gets sick, nobody gets laid off, and there are no emergencies, the system works. But the second something breaks, the entire financial house of cards collapses.
Okay, so that's the trap. It sounds pretty bleak, I know, but there is a way out. So how do you escape without just giving up on your financial goals? Well, the answer lies in a really powerful shift in your thinking. The solution starts with a radical mindset shift. You have to stop seeing that second income as money you need to survive each month. Instead, you have to start treating it as a temporary, powerful tool. Its only job is to build wealth, smash debt, and buy back your freedom. That's it. This strategy is called the One Income Foundation. First, you intentionally structure your biggest, most fixed expenses, like your mortgage, so they can be comfortably paid by just one of your incomes. Second, you take every single dollar from that second income and you deploy it strategically to build wealth. This buys you the third and honestly the most important step: options. The freedom for one partner to step back, to change careers, or to handle a family crisis without risking total financial ruin.
At the end of the day, what our grandparents' generation had with one income wasn't necessarily more money, it was more flexibility. They had options. The two-income trap has tricked us into trading that flexibility for the mere appearance of prosperity. So the question is no longer just about how much you earn, but how you structure your life to reclaim those precious options. So, what's your plan to get yours back?